Even though after coming to America, Braun was part of the US Army and kept working on his V-2 rockets. Um, but since he came from the Nazi side, the Americans didn't dare put him in charge. For a while, he was stuck making space films at Disney, teaching kids about rockets, basically retiring early. And oh man, when he heard the Soviets got a satellite up there, he was so bummed out because the Army wasn't up for satellite launches yet. The Pentagon would inspect to make sure he wasn't sneaking a satellite into test rockets. And finally, in December 1957, after the Navy botched the first satellite, Braun got his shot. After all those delays, his first satellite on Jupiter-C was only 13 kilograms, like mentioned before. Um, Man, that was way worse than Korolev's rockets. Korolev knew Braun was in the US because he'd seen his photo during the scramble for experts. But Braun had no clue. Korolev didn't just not know about Braun, he didn't even know who was running things in the US. After launching the satellite, Korolev jumped into manned space. 59 Moon probe, 61 Venus, 62 Mars. Crazy fast, and he kept going. Then he ran the first spacewalk, sent the first woman up, and started the first space station. All gold medals. He kept breaking new ground till he passed in 1966. And after that, the Soviets kind of fizzled out. Korolev was a rocket guy through and through, all about big thrust and stability. So Braun's Saturn V moon rocket was a huge success, but the Soviets were nowhere, probably because Korolev was gone. In 1972, after Apollo wrapped up quietly, Braun left NASA, figured there was nothing left to conquer. 5 years later, Braun passed from the same thing as Korolev, colon cancer. That closed the moon age. And that's when the space shuttle era kicked off. The space shuttle wasn't like the old probes or moonshots. Those were all about claiming new ground, no matter the cost. So the space shuttle's main goal was to boost cost effectiveness, turning those unusual space missions into routine stuff so that spacecraft with pricey gear wouldn't just get tossed after one use. Basically, the space shuttle is like adding wings and wheels to a spacecraft so it can glide down and land like a plane after re-entering the atmosphere. NASA built a total of 6 space shuttles. The first one, Enterprise, was a test version. After all kinds of tinkering, it ended up in a museum. Most of the others were built in the 1980s. Columbia in 1981, Challenger in 1982, Discovery in 1984, Atlantis in 1984, Endeavour in 1985. Then in 1991, that was it. NASA also found that maintenance costs kept climbing, so they couldn't build more. By the 21st century, shuttle upkeep ate up 1/3 of NASA's budget, and it's not like all 5 were running smoothly. Columbia exploded during re-entry in 2003 on its 28th flight. Earlier in 1986, Challenger blew up shortly after liftoff on its 10th mission due to a fuel tank fire. Those 2 accidents cost 14 astronauts. Originally, each shuttle was planned to fly up to 100 missions. But in reality, the 5 combined only flew a bit over 100 missions, and by 2011, the last 3 were all retired. Oh man, another era ended sadly. That busy shuttling vision between space and Earth never happened. While the US was doing shuttles, the Soviets wanted to catch up, so they thought of space stations. A space station is a spacecraft in low Earth orbit for long-term living and working by multiple astronauts. The Soviets saw space stations for military and comms, plus as space factories or even a stepping stone for colonization. Oh, the dreams were grand, and boy did they put in the hard work. Way back in 1971, the Soviets launched the first space station, Salyut 1, into orbit and ran it for a decade, getting more skilled and hooked. By Salyut 7, they'd nailed technical issues like how many doors to have or the best orbital height. But honestly, whether these space stations were meant to be factories or hotels, nobody seemed to care. The obsessed Soviet space folks kept pushing, turning the original single unit station into a modular setup. This is near the biggest and most advanced space station of the 20th century. With space stations, NASA just hopped on the bandwagon. No solid plan, just if others have it, we want it too, even using leftover Apollo parts. Their only homegrown space station was Skylab, launched into space in 1973. This station was pretty roomy, like a two-story house, with a dining table, shower, gear, toilet, all covered. Astronauts could even cook lobster and steak, living the good life. But Skylab only hosted 9 astronauts total because it had no orbit adjusting system. When it slowed down, they could only watch it plummet. In 1979, it finally gave out and crashed into the southern Indian Ocean. While the Soviet space station program was booming, grabbing global attention, the U.S. faced the Challenger space shuttle explosion. To shake off the embarrassment, NASA planned a big move, starting to cook up a new space station project. President Reagan knew darn well any president who backed space programs got public support. It became politically correct unless you wanted out. So in December 1983, with a stroke of the pen, he approved this space station project called Freedom. Let's take a look at the budget. In 1980, supporters claimed the development cost was $8 billion. By 1991, the budget ballooned to $38 billion, and the Comptroller General told Congress that with 30 years of operating costs, it had hit $110 billion. Even America, flush with cash, couldn't swallow that. What now? Right around then, the Soviet Union had changed to the CS, and those years were rough. The Peace II space station was stuck in limbo. Then the NASA administrator had a light bulb moment. Why not team up with Russia, the big bear up north, who is also strapped for cash? Soon after, a new space station emerged, not called Freedom or Peace. It was named the International Space Station, and this whole thing turned out pretty festive. The European Space Agency, Japan, and Canada all pitched in, with Europe covering 11 countries, and later even Brazil joined. Construction of the International Space Station started way back in the 1990s. Man, it was like a paper shredder in space, just ripping up every dollar thrown into it. Originally planned for 2003, but then Columbia went down, grounding all shuttles for 2.5 years. With no transport, station building paused, only finished in 2011 after shuttles came back. The completed International Space Station. It's about the size of a football field. Astronauts do microgravity research there, like growing veggies in space. For years now, there's always been at least 2 astronauts up there. Meanwhile, we're snoring away every night. A few folks are zipping right over our heads. So, can we actually spot the ISS? Yep, theoretically it reflects sunlight bright as Venus. If you catch it in the night sky, you'll see it hauling, because it circles Earth nearly 16 times a day. First, they said it'd last till 2024, then extended to 2028. Even then, took 20 years to build, but only serves 10 plus years. Spending more time prepping than using? Pretty lame. That's the human spaceflight part. Now, NASA's cosmic exploration, that's simpler. Just launch probes or telescopes, no humans needed. And this started early. Soon after satellites, they targeted Earth's neighbors, Venus and Mars. People realized early, beneath Venus' pretty face lies an ugly heart, scorching 400 degrees Celsius, crushing 90 atmospheres pressure, toxic 96% CO2 atmosphere. So Americans kept their distance, favoring watery Mars rumors instead. In 1965, Mariner 4 brought Mars' first close-up photos and detected 1% of Earth's surface pressure. Because the space shuttle program hogged the budget, Mars exploration halted in 1975 and stayed dead for 17 years. Finally, in 1992, NASA restarted Mars missions. And wow, did the public get hyped about the findings. especially in 1996 when scientists found microbial fossils in a Martian meteorite from Antarctica. Then the Mars Global Surveyor found massive ice at the poles, hinting at possible life. Next came rovers, some still crawling on Mars today. NASA's not content just visiting neighbors. After 1970, they aimed at Jupiter and beyond our solar system. Pioneers 10 and 11 led the charge, launching in 1972 and 1973. Pioneer 10 took 11 years to pass Pluto, heading toward Aldebaran 68 light years away. Signal's gone now. Maybe in 2 million years, aliens at Aldebaran will find this beat-up traveler. Pioneer 11 story's similar. We lost contact with it too. Then in 1977, the more advanced Voyager 1 and 2 launched within a month of each other. They outpaced the Pioneer siblings. In 2007, Voyager 1 passed all others to reach what we thought was the solar system's edge. As Voyager drifts farther, NASA gets fainter signals. Even a cough excites us now. Someday it'll go silent, drifting into deep space. Maybe meeting another civilization who knows where or when. Enough probes. Let's talk telescopes. Peering at the cosmos is humanity's old habit. If satellites can go up, why not telescopes? In 1990, the 11-ton Hubble telescope hit orbit 600 kilometers up via space shuttle. With then cutting-edge tech, Hubble handled most cosmic observations. Those stunning space photos online, they revolutionized astronomy. Astronomer Friedman used Hubble to find the universe is younger than its stars. The Hubble telescope's way past its retirement, but still hanging on, waiting for the Webb Space Telescope to take over. Webb was supposed to take the baton around 2020. It's half Hubble's weight and has a new mission, sniffing out radiation evidence from the Big Bang. So that's NASA's wins and losses over half a century, finally circling back to the byline. Come on. When author Gonger pokes fun at NASA, it's really us humans getting roasted. Humans? We've never been the sit-still type. Past generations never dreamed we'd be messing around up in the sky like today. Just like we can't fathom how far future humans will go in the cosmos. All right, folks, that wraps up Don't Joke About NASA. Show notes below. Catch you tomorrow.